What if I told you that the power to walk away is the ultimate secret to attraction? In today's video, we're diving into a dynamic that many overlook: the undeniable magnetism of self-respect. If you've ever felt like you're chasing someone who's pulling away, or if you've been stuck wondering why she's losing interest, the answer might surprise you. The problem isn't about her. It's about how you're showing up in the relationship. When you focus too much on winning someone over, you can lose sight of your value. The good news? Learning to walk away, to stand firm in your boundaries, flips the script entirely. It's not just attractive, it's powerful. Let's break down how this mindset shift works and why it's a game changer for building deeper, more meaningful connections. Stick around. You won't want to miss this. Number 1. She wants what she can't have. Here's a truth that's often overlooked, but it's something that can completely change the way you approach relationships. People tend to value what feels scarce or just out of reach. Think about it. When something is always available, always easy to get, we often take it for granted. It's the rare, the unique, and the fleeting moments that make us stop and pay attention. The same applies to how someone perceives you in a relationship. When you choose to walk away, you're not just physically stepping back. You're sending a message that your time, your energy, and your presence aren't freely given to anyone who demands it. You're showing that you respect yourself enough to set boundaries, and that your attention is something to be earned, not handed out. And trust me, this shift in perspective is powerful. It makes people take notice because suddenly, you're not a constant in their life. You're a variable they have to work for. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The more we value ourselves, the less we need the approval of others." Walking away isn't about playing games or manipulating someone into liking you. It's about understanding your worth and demonstrating that you're not going to settle for less than you deserve. When you live by this principle, you naturally exude confidence and self-respect, qualities that others are drawn to. Imagine this scenario. You've been texting back and forth with someone you're interested in. But as soon as they start to pull back or take you for granted, instead of chasing after them or trying to win them over, you decide to step away. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because you understand your value. You're busy building your own life, pursuing your goals, and focusing on what makes you happy. This quiet confidence sends a louder message than any words could. It tells her that you're secure with or without her attention. When you embrace this mindset, you're not just making her chase you. You're creating a dynamic where the relationship becomes healthier and more balanced. She's no longer taking you for granted because you've shown that you won't stick around for anything less than mutual respect and effort. And that, my friend, is where the real magic happens. It's not about manipulation. It's about self-respect and understanding that scarcity, when used wisely, can be one of the most attractive qualities of all. So remember this: walking away doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're giving yourself the freedom to be valued the way you deserve. And in doing so, you inspire others to see your worth too. Number 2. Control your emotions. Control the outcome. Picture this. You're in the middle of a disagreement. Emotions are running high, and the temptation to prove your point or seek validation feels overwhelming. Most people would give in to the moment, reacting impulsively, clinging to the need to win or to be understood. But not you. Instead, you remain calm, grounded, and composed. This is the power of emotional control, and let me tell you, it's incredibly magnetic. When you demonstrate the strength to walk away, not out of anger or frustration, but from a place of self-assurance, it sends a powerful message. It tells her that you value yourself enough not to beg for her attention or approval. While others might lose themselves in the chaos of emotional conflict, you stand apart because you're anchored in something deeper, your own sense of worth. That's the kind of energy that's hard to ignore. And yes, it's the kind of energy that draws people back to you. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Think about that for a moment. The bravery to walk away stems from mastering your emotions, from knowing that your value isn't tied to someone else's acceptance. You're free because you don't rely on external validation to define your worth. That's freedom, and it's one of the most attractive qualities you can have. Imagine a woman testing your boundaries. Maybe she pulls away or becomes distant to see how you'll react. A man who hasn't developed emotional control might panic, chase after her, or try to convince her to stay. But the man who understands his own value takes a different approach. He lets her space exist. He doesn't react impulsively or try to fill the silence with reassurances. Instead, he walks away, not as a punishment, but as a demonstration of his strength and self-respect. When she sees that you can step back without bitterness, she begins to see your worth in a new light. She feels your energy shift from dependence to independence, and that shift is what sparks curiosity and, eventually, the desire to chase. So, the next time you're faced with a moment of tension or uncertainty, remember this: your calmness is your superpower. Your ability to walk away, rooted in your understanding of self-worth, isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of freedom. It's a testament to the fact that you're in control, not of her actions, but of your own emotions. And that, my friend, is irresistible. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you handle moments of tension or uncertainty in your relationships? Do you find it challenging to step back and stay grounded, or have you experienced the magnetic pull of emotional control firsthand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. Or, if you're short on words, simply type "calmness is my superpower" to let me know you're embracing this mindset. Number 3. Focus on your own life first. Why does the power to walk away make her chase you? Let's break this down together, because it's one of the most misunderstood yet effective dynamics in relationships. When you walk away, you're not just creating distance. You're sending a clear, unspoken message. I have a life beyond you. That statement carries immense weight because it's rooted in confidence, self-respect, and a sense of purpose. These are qualities that naturally draw others toward you. Imagine this. You meet someone who's utterly consumed by waiting for you to text or call. They're always available, always prioritizing you, and over time, that attention starts to feel predictable, maybe even suffocating. Now, think about someone different. Someone who's deeply passionate about their own goals and relentlessly pursuing their dreams. This person doesn't just wait for life to happen, they're out there making it happen. Who would you find more intriguing? The answer is obvious. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized the importance of focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Your time, your energy, your passions. These are within your control. A woman's reaction to you? That's not. When you prioritize yourself, you're embodying this timeless wisdom. You're not ignoring her. You're simply not hinging your entire existence on her validation. That level of emotional independence is magnetic. When she sees that you're someone who can thrive with or without her, it flips a psychological switch. She begins to wonder, what makes him so confident? What am I missing by not being in his life? Think about a man who's deeply immersed in his career, his fitness journey, or a creative passion like painting or music. He's not waiting around for texts or overthinking every interaction. Instead, he's pouring his energy into building something meaningful. This man is naturally harder to reach because he's genuinely busy. His time becomes valuable, and his presence feels earned, not given away freely. Women are drawn to that kind of energy because it feels secure, inspiring, and even a little mysterious. Walking away works because it communicates strength. It's not about rejecting her, it's about choosing yourself first. And when you do, she sees the value in you. A man who is willing to walk away is a man who cannot be easily controlled or manipulated. He's grounded, confident, and unshaken by external approval. That's power. So, if you're in a situation where you feel the need to cling, stop and ask yourself, am I acting out of fear of losing her or out of confidence in my own worth? Remember, you are the builder of your own world. Let her choose to be a part of it, not the center of it. When you live with that mindset, you're no longer chasing, you're attracting. And that's when the dynamic changes entirely. Number 4. Confidence speaks louder than words. Confidence isn't about shouting from the rooftops or trying to impress everyone around you. It's not about constantly telling people how great you are or how much you bring to the table. Real confidence, the kind that leaves an impact and changes how people see you, comes from what you do, not what you say. When you have the strength to walk away, you're making a statement so powerful it doesn't need words. You're saying, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I won't settle for less. That energy is magnetic. It's the kind of confidence that draws people in, not because you're chasing them, but because you've shown you don't need to. Think about it. When you walk away, you're not just leaving a situation or person behind. You're choosing yourself. You're putting your self-respect above temporary comfort, fleeting validation, or the fear of being alone. That decision radiates strength, and it's the kind of strength that others notice. People can feel when someone knows their worth, and that's what makes them want to chase you. You're no longer just someone they can take for granted. You become the person they suddenly realize they can't afford to lose. The Stoics understood this kind of power deeply. They taught that real strength doesn't come from loudness, boasting, or aggression. True strength is calm, steady, and unshakable, like a deep-rooted tree that stands firm no matter how strong the winds blow. When you have the courage to walk away, you're embodying that mindset. You're showing that your sense of peace, your happiness, and your self-worth aren't tied to anyone else. You're rooted in yourself, and that kind of groundedness is rare. It's what makes people sit up, take notice, and wonder what it is about you that's so different. Let's say you're in a relationship where you feel undervalued. You've communicated your feelings, but nothing changes. Every effort you make feels one-sided, and you're left questioning your own worth. Now, you could stay, hoping things will improve, trying to convince them of your value. But at what cost? Staying sends the message that you're willing to accept less than you deserve. And deep down, you know that's not what you want. Instead, you make the difficult but powerful choice to walk away. Not out of anger, bitterness, or to prove a point, but because you've realized that staying would mean compromising your self-respect. And here's what often happens. Your absence speaks louder than anything you could have said while you were there. Suddenly, they feel the void you've left behind. They start to recognize what they took for granted. The moments they brushed off now linger in their mind. Why? Because when you walk away with grace and dignity, you shift the dynamic. You go from being someone they assumed would always be there to someone they have to win back. Your worth becomes undeniable, not because you shouted it, but because you lived it. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where you're not being valued, don't fear walking away. It's not just a statement to the other person. It's a statement to yourself. You're telling yourself that you matter, that your peace and self-respect are non-negotiable. And here's the beautiful irony. When you have the strength to walk away, you often find that people will come running back, not because you demanded it, but because your confidence left an impression they can't ignore. That's the power of knowing your worth and living by it. What about you? Have you ever experienced the power of walking away from something that no longer served your peace or self-respect? How did it change the way people treated you, or the way you saw yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Or, if you're short on time, simply type, "My worth is non-negotiable." Let's keep this conversation going and inspire others to embrace their confidence and value. Number 5. Give her space to miss you. Distance creates desire. Think about it. When you're always available, when you're constantly chasing, there's little room for her to reflect on what you bring into her life. But when you step back, even just a little, something interesting happens. You give her the space to miss you, to appreciate your presence, and to recognize your value. This isn't manipulation, it's wisdom. It's rooted in self-respect and the understanding that true connection can only flourish when both people are free to choose each other, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely want to. This brings to mind a powerful lesson from Stoicism. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the ability to let go." Walking away isn't about giving up or losing. It's about creating space for clarity, for her and for yourself. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a situation where the woman you care about is pulling away or seems unsure about what she wants. Your instinct might tell you to try harder, to cling tighter, or to constantly check in. But instead, you choose to take a step back. You don't do this to punish her or make her feel bad. You do it because you understand that chasing someone who is uncertain only pushes them further away. You trust that by giving her the gift of space, you're allowing her the opportunity to evaluate what you mean to her. Now, here's where the power of Stoicism shines. Walking away requires self-discipline. It requires you to let go of the fear of losing her and to trust in yourself and the value you bring. When you detach from the outcome, when you stop trying to control her feelings or decisions, you not only protect your peace of mind, you also show her that you are someone who values yourself enough not to beg for attention. That kind of strength is magnetic. And here's the truth. When she realizes that you are not someone who will compromise your self-worth to keep her in your life, her perspective shifts. She begins to see you differently, not as someone who chases, but as someone who is confident and secure enough to let go. That confidence, that quiet strength, is what draws her back to you. So, remember this. The power to walk away is not just about her. It's about you. It's about reclaiming your freedom, maintaining your self-respect, and understanding that sometimes stepping back is the most powerful move you can make. When you embody this mindset, you not only give her the space to chase you, you also cultivate a sense of inner peace and clarity that will serve you in every area of your life. That's the real power of walking away. Number 6, respect yourself, and she will too. Here's the truth. People treat you the way you allow them to. If you tolerate disrespect or being taken for granted, you're silently telling others, "This is okay with me." But when you choose to walk away, when you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, you set a powerful boundary. It's not about anger or revenge. It's about self-respect. Think of it this way. Walking away is like planting a flag in the ground that says, "This is my value, and I won't compromise on it." It's not always easy. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, even scary, because we fear losing someone we care about. But this is where Stoicism comes in. The ancient Stoics believed in focusing only on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, and your choices. You can't control how someone else treats you, but you can control what you tolerate and how you respond. When you walk away from someone who disrespects or undervalues you, you're not just setting a boundary for them. You're sending a message to yourself. You're saying, "I'm worth more than this." And here's the fascinating part. When you truly honor your own value, others begin to see it too. It's like a mirror. When you show confidence and self-respect, people can't help but notice. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a relationship where your partner constantly cancels plans, barely communicates, and makes you feel like an afterthought. If you stay and keep hoping they'll change, you're allowing that behavior to continue. But if you step back, if you say, "I deserve someone who values my time and effort," and actually walk away, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, they're faced with the reality of losing someone who knows their worth. And that realization? It can be powerful. But remember, walking away isn't about manipulation. It's not about making someone chase you for the sake of your ego. It's about aligning with your own values and knowing what you deserve. If they come back, it's because they've realized they can't afford to lose someone with that level of self-respect. And if they don't, well, then you've just made space for someone who will. So, here's the takeaway. Walking away isn't a sign of weakness. It's a declaration of strength. It's proof that you value yourself enough to demand better. And that confidence, that self-assurance, it's magnetic. It's what makes people take notice. When you own your worth, the right people will rise to meet you. Now, before we move on to the next point, I'd love to hear your perspective. What does self-respect mean to you? How have you seen it change the dynamics in your relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments, or if you're short on time, just type "Respect starts with me" to let me know you're on this journey too. Let's keep the conversation going. Number 7, shift the balance in your favor. When you choose to walk away, something fascinating happens. You shift the entire dynamic of the relationship. Suddenly, the balance of attention changes, and she's the one left wondering, "Did I lose him? What is he thinking? Why isn't he chasing me?" It's not manipulation. It's about reclaiming your own sense of self-worth. By stepping back, you demonstrate that your value doesn't depend on anyone else's validation. Think about it. When you're always available, always chasing, it can come across as desperation. But when you have the courage to walk away, you show her that your world doesn't revolve around her approval. This creates mystery and intrigue, qualities that naturally spark attraction. It's in those moments of absence that she begins to see your worth, often more clearly than when you were constantly present. A Stoic might put it like this: true strength lies in not needing to chase, but in knowing when to step back. The power of walking away isn't about playing games. It's about practicing self-control and honoring your own values. A Stoic man understands that his peace of mind and inner stability are far more important than the fleeting highs of attention or affection. He doesn't give away his power by constantly seeking external validation. Instead, he's grounded, confident, and unshaken, whether someone stays or goes. Here's an example to make this clearer. Imagine you've been putting in all the effort in a relationship, texting first, planning dates, always showing up. She, on the other hand, seems distant or uninterested. Instead of doubling down on your efforts and chasing harder, what if you took a step back? What if you stopped initiating and focused that energy on yourself, on your goals, your growth, and the things that bring you fulfillment? At first, she might not even notice, but over time, as your absence becomes apparent, she'll start to wonder, why isn't he reaching out? What's changed? This space forces her to confront the possibility of losing you, which can ignite a renewed sense of appreciation and desire. The key here isn't to use silence as a weapon. It's about showing that you value yourself enough to walk away when you're not being valued in return. It's about detaching from the outcome, just as Stoicism teaches us. You can't control her feelings or actions, but you can control your own. By walking away, you're choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over desperation. And ironically, it's often this very act of letting go that makes her chase you. So, the next time you feel tempted to hold on tighter, remember, walking away isn't a sign of weakness. It's a display of strength. It shows you know your worth and refuse to settle for anything less. That confidence, that quiet self-assurance, is what makes her see you in a new light. It's what draws her closer. And even if it doesn't, you've already won, because you've chosen yourself. Number 8. Silence can be your best move. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Let that sink in for a moment. Silence, when used intentionally, carries a weight that words often can't match. It's not about playing games or trying to manipulate someone. It's about showing that you value yourself enough not to beg for attention or validation. Silence forces her to pause, to wonder, and to fill in the gaps with thoughts of you. But here's the thing. This kind of silence only works when it comes from a place of self-discipline and inner calm, not from frustration or anger. Think about this. When you remain silent after a disagreement, a rejection, or even when she pulls away, you're demonstrating a sense of control over your emotions. You're saying, without words, I don't need to prove myself to you. My value speaks for itself. This aligns perfectly with a Stoic principle. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. You can't control her thoughts or actions, but you can control how you respond. And sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Imagine a scenario. You've been talking to someone you're interested in, and suddenly, she becomes distant. Many men might panic, sending endless messages, trying to figure out what went wrong. But what if you did the opposite? What if you leaned into your silence instead of chasing after her? When you stop chasing, you create space for her to notice your absence. And in that space, curiosity grows. She starts to think, why hasn't he called? Why isn't he trying harder? That curiosity often leads to her chasing you. The Stoics teach us that a wise man is known by his silence. This doesn't mean you should always stay quiet or suppress your thoughts. It means knowing when to step back and let your actions, or your lack of them, speak louder than words. When your silence comes from a place of self-respect, it's magnetic. It shows that you're not desperate for her attention because you've already got everything you need within yourself. This is the power of walking away. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. When you have the courage to walk away, you flip the dynamic. You're no longer the one chasing. You're the one being chased. And that shift in energy is incredibly attractive. So the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, to plead, or to chase after someone who's pulling away, remember, sometimes the strongest move is to say nothing at all. Stay calm, stay grounded, and let your silence do the talking. In her mind, it'll speak volumes. Number 9. Independence is magnetic. Let me tell you something that most men overlook. There's nothing more attractive than a man who is genuinely secure in himself. When you reach a point where you're truly independent, emotionally, financially, and mentally, you naturally draw others toward you. And it's not about being arrogant or playing games. It's about the energy you give off when your sense of worth doesn't hinge on anyone else's validation. That's what makes you magnetic. Think about it. A man who is independent doesn't just survive, he thrives. He doesn't chase after attention or try to prove himself. Why? Because he knows his own value. Picture it like this. You're like a tree with roots that run deep into the ground. Storms may come, winds may try to shake you, but you stand firm. That kind of stability is rare, and because of that, it's irresistible. Women notice this. They can sense when a man is at peace with himself, and it creates a pull they can't ignore. The ancient Stoics believed in focusing only on what's within your control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions. You can't control how others feel about you, but you can control how you show up in the world. And when you embody that mindset, you stop needing validation from anyone. You're no longer the one chasing approval. Instead, people start chasing you. Imagine this scenario. You meet someone, and there's an undeniable spark. But instead of losing yourself in trying to impress her, you stay grounded. You keep your life moving forward, whether she's interested or not. You walk away if the situation doesn't align with your values. That's power. And it's not a power you use to manipulate. It's the quiet, confident power of knowing you'll be okay no matter what. This confidence flips the script. When you're the man who can walk away, it creates a sense of mystery and respect. She'll wonder why you're so steady, why you're not chasing like others might. It's this balance of being available but not needy, present but not overbearing, that makes her want to lean in. It's human nature to desire what feels secure, yet slightly out of reach. The power to walk away isn't about being cold or distant. It's about valuing yourself enough to let go of anything or anyone that doesn't align with your life. And when you live like this, the world takes notice. You don't have to demand attention. Your grounded, self-assured presence does all the talking. So remember, be the man who stands tall, rooted in who he is. Be the man who doesn't need to chase because he knows his value is already sky high. When you embrace that mindset, the world, and yes, she, will notice. Number 10. Let her make the next move. When you step back and create space, something remarkable happens. You allow her the opportunity to come toward you on her own terms. And when she does, it's not out of obligation or because you pleaded for her attention. It's because she genuinely values you and recognizes your worth. That's the kind of connection that truly matters. One built on mutual respect, not desperation. Think about this for a moment. When you chase after someone, you're often pushing them further away. It's like trying to hold onto water with a clenched fist. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you let go, when you give her the freedom to choose you, that's when the dynamic shifts. She begins to see you as someone who respects himself enough to know his own value, and that's undeniably attractive. As the Stoics remind us, what is truly yours will come to you in time. Walking away doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're giving both of you the chance to reflect and decide what really matters. It's an act of self-respect and trust in the process. Imagine this scenario. You've been texting her, putting in all the effort, but she's distant, unresponsive, or maybe even pulling away. Instead of doubling down and trying harder to win her over, you step back. You stop chasing, you stop overthinking, and you focus on yourself, your growth, your peace, your passions. It's not about playing games, it's about showing her that you're someone who doesn't need to beg for attention, someone who values himself enough to walk away when the energy isn't reciprocated. And then, something interesting starts to happen. That space you've created, it gives her room to miss you. She starts to wonder about you, about your confidence, about the strength it took for you to walk away. She begins to see you not as someone desperate for her approval, but as someone she wants to pursue. This is where the shift occurs. You're no longer chasing. She's leaning in, wanting to be closer to you. Walking away isn't easy. It requires courage, self-discipline, and trust in your own value. But that's where the power lies. When you master the art of stepping back, you communicate that you're not afraid to lose someone who isn't willing to meet you halfway. And that's when she realizes she doesn't want to lose you either. So ask yourself, are you chasing or are you creating space for her to truly value you? Remember, balance is key. Relationships flourish when both people meet in the middle. And, as the Stoics teach us, what is meant for you will find its way to you. No chasing required. So, what's the biggest takeaway here? The power to walk away isn't just about creating distance. It's about demonstrating your self-worth and prioritizing your peace of mind. Attraction begins with respect, and respect starts with how you treat yourself. When you embrace emotional independence, set boundaries, and focus on your growth, you naturally shift the dynamic in any relationship. You stop chasing and start inspiring others to see your value. Reflect for a moment. How many times have you felt stuck, overthinking, or overcompensating in a relationship? Now, imagine how freeing it would feel to step back and let the right energy flow naturally. When you walk away, it's not about rejection or playing games. It's about giving both of you the space to realize what truly matters. As the Stoics teach us, what is meant for you will come to you. Trust in that, and trust in your worth. If this video struck a chord with you, take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Have you ever noticed how stepping back created a positive shift? What strategies have worked for you to maintain self-respect and balance? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences and start a meaningful conversation. Before you go, don't forget to support this channel by giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps spread the message. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more insights that can help you grow both in your personal life and relationships. Lastly, check out the recommended videos on the screen. They dive deeper into related topics, from emotional resilience to navigating challenging dynamics in relationships, and I think you'll find them incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for watching, for being part of this journey, and for investing in yourself. Until next time, stay grounded, stay confident, and remember, you are always enough. See you in the next video.